one of the dopest engineers in the game. The head engineer exclusively for Prodigy of Mobb Deep. 10 Prodigy of Mobb Deep albums. The Hegelian Dialectic. The Book of Revelation.
It's a pleasure, man. That body of work is crazy. I mean,
Joe the engineer. Now we do this shit, nigga.
333. That's a sign from the heavens. Just look up in the heavens.
The fucking weed is right here. If you needed to ask. Like you didn't fucking know. What up, everybody? It is, it's time for B Boutique. It's time for me to roll the fuck up. I know I am an hour later than I typically am for this show. But I was doing something. So, looks like I might be talking to myself right now. Pretty much. Alright, that works for me. Whatever. Just gonna play beats while I roll the fuck up.
I am the
Billy Lodge, what up, homie? Chronic, what's good? I know we usually do this at 9, and I am late. I might be up to something. We shall see. I might be up to something. Anyway, what up, homies? I wish I had Session Wire already activated since there's only the 3 of us here. We just make a beat together instead of doing whatever the fuck it is we're about to do. So, yeah. I'm up to some things. I'm up to a couple things, it seems like. Let me see what you're up to. Chronic. Oh, we got it going tonight, Chronic. 6 of them. I like it because I got nothing else to do. So, yeah, let's go. Let's see what you're working on, homie. There was Chronic at the end of it. Dope, man. It's a good marriage between what you're currently doing and what you used to do at the beginning of the year. Is anybody out working Chronic at the 333? I don't think they are. I don't think anybody's out working you right now, homie. I mean, when I first got started, I was so far behind everyone else, and even farther behind in my own mind of where everyone else was at. But I did know one thing. Nobody was going to be able to outwork me. And I mean, I grew up on a farm, dude. Farm work is fucking hard. And basically, as soon as you can walk, you're working. So I always thought to myself, sitting in the studio, hanging out with rappers and smoking blunts is not work. And it would never be work to me, so I was willing to do it literally perpetually for 7 years. Actually, more like 9, but there was a 7-year period where I literally did not leave the studio. So, one of my mentors, he lived at Quad Studios for 2 years on the 6th floor. It was Michael Brower's assistant engineer. And he literally lived there out of a suitcase. And I just saw how good of an engineer he was, like just even technically. He was so skilled. And I just thought to myself, I have to do that too. I'm gonna have to do it. The only way to get that good is I'm gonna have to live in the studio. And the universe did give me what I wanted, and I ended up living in the goddamn studio for 7 years. So, if anybody ever wonders how the fuck it is that I'm able to do the things that I do in Pro Tools, that's because for 7 straight years I did nothing else. I slept on the couch at Infamous Studios and would wake up and then just get right back to work. 7 years, I never stopped. So just keep working, Chronic. I will tell you from personal experience, even Billy Lyons, we can even say recent personal experience. You never know who's watching you do your thing. I like where that was going at the end. I like where that was headed. You may want to do that sooner and then kind of switch and kind of work with that section sped up a little bit. Kind of felt like an Alchemist transition where you was about to go into a whole nother beat. Chronic gonna keep me busy tonight, y'all. Andrew, what up, homie? Kal-El. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Chronic, you should do a whole project, like a little EP or something with this feel. This has got a very, the more you know, after school special from the 80s, late 70s, like, kind of vibe to it. It's fucking cool, though. Yeah, I don't know where the fuck you got these samples from. Shit is dope, though. Yo, Billy Lines. Motherfucking Bushwick flooded last night. Now, I know Louisiana and the Deep South is way worse than what happened in New York, but it's the first time there was a flash flood in New York City's history. And it was a flash flood. Out of nowhere, there was like 4 feet of water on the BQE, and people were submerged, still in their car. Their lights were on underneath water. It was nuts. And then clearly every single subway was going to be flooded. All the shit's subterranean. So T's and P's to everybody who's been affected by this one. If it rained this hard in New York, I can only imagine what the hell happened down south, because that shit was fucking crazy up here. Yeah, I like the way that one drops a lot, dude. That was an ill fucking drop. Yeah, I mean, my apartment, I'm good in the particular area I'm at, but just a block away was not so good. So, what the fuck was I just about to say? Oh, yeah. What the fuck we smoking on tonight, y'all? Tonight, it is Skittles for me. Yo, Chronic, if you wouldn't have put your signature in there, I wouldn't have known that you did that beat. Excellent. So, they're at around 1:30 something. Benjamin, what up, homie? There's two different very high-pitched pulses. And they're both on top of each other. So just switch one of them to the other side. Or if it's the same thing, whenever it's like it's lower notes, pan that one to the other side so that they're not all stacked on top of each other. And then also with a lot of those snare fills, filter them a couple more, because when you did it on the one, it was really fucking cool. You could do that. You could push that and do more of that. Other than that, I got nothing for you on that one, dude. That one's dope. That one was really good. Yeah, I remember that. Dope to see where you took it. It's fucking dope. Alright, so that was World Peep. We got one more. Billy Lodge. Benjamin, congratulations, homie. I will immediately roll the fuck up as soon as this blunt is over in your honor. Beefy, what up? Thanks. I appreciate it. Me and Billy Lyons, we're always up to something. What up, everybody? It is Beat Boutique. I am me, you are you, we are the 333. And yes, I am joined by my esteemed co-host, The Wolf, who is knocked the fuck out. Been up to something. Yo, Chronic. Alright, so this is another level of advice for you. I haven't done this one with you yet. Alright, what you need to do with this one is when the beat switches up after like 8 bars of that, go back to the like it's another verse, and then do the other 8 bar like it's a hook, and then do the rest of that. It's going to end up making it probably like 3 minutes and some change. And then send it to Westside Gunn. I don't even like him, but that shit is all the way up his alley. So, yeah, structure that out a little bit more rappy. And then, send it to Westside Gunn. You never know what'll happen. But that one right there is literally... That's why I wasn't moving. I was just listening and hearing his flow and his voice on that beat. That one is literally 100% right up his alley. So, restructure that one to make it a little bit more rappy. If you, boom, 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 boom. If you got any questions about it, just hit me up. I'll guide you along the way on exactly what you need to do, and then we'll take it from there, homie. I'll see if I can help you out, but that one got to go to Westside. That is like literally, that's all I could hear. So, I have not heard from Twin. Hey, it's 3:33 somewhere. It's time to roll up. I have not heard from Twin on which beat he has picked for the winner. I appreciate it's listen, anytime that you can make a beat into like its own thing, it's not just a repetitive beat, like it's just like its own little musical movement. Shit's fucking dope, because I spent a lot of time trying to make sure that the beats that me and Billy Lyons make can do both. That it's rappable on, it's a structure that makes sense musically and as far as hip hop and rap goes, but also if you listen to it by itself, that it can stand alone on itself. And I spent a lot of time trying to balance those two. So, I have no idea who won August Beat Battle, but September's Beat Battle has officially begun. So, this one, like I said last Thursday, it's going to be a little bit different. I have 2 samples that I've already cut up and kind of sequenced, and you are to make beats out of those 2. But I am also including a pack of hi-hats. Let me see if I can figure out how many are in this motherfucker, because I don't want you to get nothing out of it. Let's see. There are 3,060 hi-hats in this folder. So I think your entry fee will be worth it this time. You know the deal. Make beats. This time you got to use one of the 2 samples to make a beat. You can just add drums. You can add stuff to it. I don't care. Just create. Also, the way that we are doing it this month is, instead of paying me for this entry into this month's battle and this pack of hi-hats, all you have to do is go to our 333 Foundation GoFundMe page and donate the 20 for the entry fee for this month to our fundraiser that we're currently in the middle of for one of our own, and then I will send you the loot pack and the hi-hats. So Billy Lines, being dope because Billy Lines is dope, has already paid for Zoltan and Andrew Bowd's entry into this month. So this is why the 333 is dope and you guys are fucking awesome, because you do shit like that. Skittles time. Taste the rainbow, y'all. So, yeah. I know Billy Lines. I believe you already have everything. I'll send you the thing of hats. And, you guys can get busy. It's going to be fun because I've been thinking about these two beats, these two samples for, honestly, years. And it'll be awesome to see what you guys can come up with. So, as far as our winners being involved in an album that I'm working on, it appears that things might be getting a little bit more interesting. I'm up to something, y'all. Man, I think I'm up to something. I'll keep you guys updated on this one. I'm up to something right now. So, anybody else got any music you're working on? I know it was the beat battle last week. So, there's probably not anything new. Yeah, shout out to Billy Lines for his generosity. All the way from Mississippi to Germany. What a connection. So, let's see. It's funny that it's 10:33 and I'm about to do this because this isn't the normal time that we would be doing this. Let's see. What are we going to do today, y'all? It's got to be slim pickings at this point. All right, so we got 1, 2, basically 3 left because PhD we're not going to do. So we got 3 songs left. I believe. We have not done Motherfucking USA yet, have we? Or did we do this? It appears as though we might have done it in June. I don't remember. Yo, Chronic, you know what's ironic about... I don't think we did this one yet. We might have. I don't fucking remember, dude. Hold on, I will tell you in a second. Nah, this I don't think we've done this within. Because this is a whole other thing. So we've got motherfucking USA Snakes, which we can't do yet. And No Contest. That's all we've got left. Well, looks like we're doing it then. Y'all better roll the fuck up. This one is, it's a Beat Butcher beat, so it can be pretty fucking extensive. Alright, so trying to remember, this was definitely one of the last tracks that was added to the album. Like P always used to do. I've said it numerous times. Where he would take a couple songs off and then add new ones because he wanted a stronger fit for him. This song was literally made for the album. This song was made specifically to fill a gap in the album. P being P. P goes on the Jimmy Fallon show and sits in with the Roots. And what song does P perform? Motherfucking USA. What part does he perform? Part where he talks about they want to get rid of all our weapons. I was just like, yo, P, you are fucking illest, yo. I could not believe he did. I mean, I could. It's P. I expected nothing else from him except things like that. But I'm not gonna lie, it even caught me a little bit off guard. I was just like, yo, did you? Out of all the songs on the album, that's the one you decided to do on the Fallon show? Alright. I fucks with it. So, as customary, let's see how we started out and what P actually wrote to. Anyway, not bad. Not a bad place to start with this one. But definitely room for clarity. So, let's get busy. Let's start where we always start. Can I kick it? I find it odd that this song was added so late and I used the Oxford Dynamics for the for the compressor. I have absolutely no idea why I chose this one, but I did. Just take the edge off. Well, I went super simplistic with the EQ. Jesus Christ. I mean, you also have to understand that Beat Butcher was making drum packs way before he was making sample packs. So his drums are always already dope. So I didn't want to depart too much from his drum sounds anyway. And I basically just super pushed the sacred frequency of 45 and then just took the front edge off and the slap on the top end. Guarantee that I added some reverb. Of course I did, because I always do. And then I added some tape delay, which I always use the same tape delay because it's fucking dope. So you can see what the tape delay does on this kick and what the whole goal of this one was. Adding so much reverb and with so much pre-delay on the reverb, it now creates a very echoey kick, which all that's going to be buried underneath of the music anyway. But since we always start with the kick, it sounds kind of funny. Adding the tape delay and setting it right behind the kick just filled in that gap between the pre-delay and the activation of the reverb and when the kick actually hits. There. Super hot. Even in Beat Butcher's 2-track, the snare was so hot in the mix. So this is a classic example. If you don't, I know I always use the H comp on vocals, but you don't just have to limit it to one thing. I typically don't use it on drums. I like the API stuff, but I did it on this one. The snare was super hot and snappy, so there's a lot more versatility within the controls on this compressor, so clearly that's why I used it. Plus, this H-Comp, this knob right here, this punch knob will allow you, if you use it on a snare or a kick possibly, allow you to add some punchiness without you having to bust out or add a plug-in that will add some punchiness that the compressor might have eaten off. Yeah, utilize this one sometimes. It works. No, I haven't done this yet on this album, but I did it. I think this is the only one that I did it on. Instead of using the EQ, because like I said, Beat Butcher's drums already sound dope anyway, I used a filter inside of the Trash plug-in, but I also used the Trash harmonic engine, and instead of the delicate harmonic setting that I always use, you can see I went into the heavy tab and used a hard limit setting on this one to add harmonics to it. See how instead of EQing out the snappiness, I gotta just fill in the gaps between the body and the snap, because the snap is so prevalent on this snare. So instead of trying to just go in and just scooping it out and being an amateur with it, if you can layer that gap in between, you're now adding so much depth and dimension and dynamic space and feel to your snare. You can feel it. It's Alright, reverb. So now we're going to get into the part that took me a very long time. Taming the individual crashes and rides in this one was an absolute and total battle. Doesn't even hit the needle, but it's still on there. Not only is this the only song I did that on the snare, adding a harmonics engine through the Isotope Trash engine, I did it with the crashes too. Completely different setting this time though. So, in Beat Butcher's Crash, if you listen to it, there's a little kind of delay on it. You can hear it ringing like it gets hit a second time. I use this harmonic engine to really push that second time out and make it noticeable, because it really gets buried once the instruments or the samples are on it. Alright, so this ride cymbal was what caused me the most angst on this track by far. And if you watch the fader, you can see it jump up and down between two volume settings. So let me add the signal chain first, I guess. So it's funny because whatever got added to that ride cymbal through this 670 gets taken right back out and tamed by the Pultec. You can see it here. I'm only using it for attenuation. There's no boost on this thing at all. And I also used it for the output gain instead of the entire gain stage. Remember to always try using the output on your plug-in first to try to, if you're having trouble getting something to sit in its proper place, don't use the fader. Go to one of the outputs in your signal chain and try that first. It's a lot more of a subtle attenuation than you use in the fader. And mixing is literally all about subtleties. So that's it for the percussion. And did I even, yeah, 17 and 18 is the room bus. So I did send all the drums to a drum bus as customary, and then sent the drum bus to the Maserati drum engine, and of course I have it on the room setting because it's the only thing that I ever have it set on. So anyway, I forgot to tell you. I made a point to bring it up and then forgot to tell you. Fuckdo, what up? So that ride bouncing between 13.5 and 14 point whatever it was, 8 I think. Yeah, 14.8. I could not decide within the mix where to put it at, and it was between those, and they're kind of different. One's a little bit hotter, more than a little bit, enough that there's a difference. And me and P were discussing it, and we just couldn't figure out which one, because after you listen to the song so many times, you kind of like can't tell the difference, really. You get ear fatigue. So the solution was I just used both of them. I said, fuck it, I'm using both. I'm just going to switch between. I'm going to write automation and just keep switching between the two. Like, fuck it. I'm not going to sit here and keep banging my head trying to figure out which one of them to use. The solution was to use both of them. Bass. So I did not use the live bass on this one, or Bass Rider Live like I always do, because Beat Butcher plays the bass, and this is kind of a weird like bass tone, and the Bass Rider kind of is a little bit too thumpy for this one. But the only reason I'm even discussing this is you can see within the mode, it's on single vocal and not like bass. So it doesn't matter what it says it does, just use it for what it actually does and what the sound is that you're looking for. I don't know, I'm sure there's other people who have used a compressor and set it to single vocal on a bass before. Maybe not. I did. It worked on this one. Breaking the cardinal rule. Reverb on the bass. See, there's so little reverb on it. If you look at the pad setting on the bus, even the reverb set is tucked really close in, so it's actually just sitting around where the bass is at, because the bass is always going to be at the center. Even if you set it to hard left and hard right, it's still in phantom center. So I tucked the reverb on it right around it, so it's still kind of just part of the bass tone and not the overall picture. You could use reverb on the bass if you use it correctly. So, move on to the sample. Now, he split it into, I'm guessing, chords and mids. So, yeah, the sample itself was split into two and then separately worked on, which, if you're having trouble controlling the sounds and the dynamics within a sample that you're using, this is an easy trick. Make a copy of it and just split the spectrum. Do work on one of them on the lower half and one of them on the upper half, and then blend between the two. So this is a rare beat that has a sample that wasn't made by Beat Butcher, because this is a little bit before he started making his own samples and selling sample packs. Shout out to Beat Butcher. He is number 3 on my favorite producers list. So yeah. Alright, so if this is going to be the bottom half of it, we got to make it feel like it. That's just going to tighten everything up because you're just compressing. Rigo, what up? Gotta have reverb. Alright, so oftentimes there are just numbers that have always worked. So for me personally, -28 in Pro Tools with reverb is like actually 0 for me. It works basically for everything, and I kind of start from there. Room bus. So you can hear when you add the room bus, since I put the pan on the bus end and tucked it in around 50, that it kind of just makes it sound like the piano chords get a little bit louder and everything else stays the same, which was the whole goal of that. And then tape delay. So now the piano chords are hitting a lot stronger. They're more present, and you can see on the tape delay bus end that it's set to 80. So the room bus was at 55, and the tape delay sends are at 80. So even with the sends, if you're having multiple aux sends on any sound, MXN, what up? So I don't even want the sends to be stacked on top of each other. I want them, this is how you create layers and how you create the third and fourth dimension on a two-dimensional plane, is things like this. So if I were to stack all those sends on top of each other, or just have them at hard left and hard right, everything's going to be jammed in the middle. It's just going to be a lot of, it's going to be big and full in the middle like it's a Phil Spector mix. And you just have all this empty space out here. So at least me personally, I choose to utilize all the spaces available. It's like playing any sport that you play. There is so much space that is available for you to utilize, and you should utilize all of it. So just uses all the space possible. And it's funny because you have to think fourth dimensionally and think that hopefully an artist is going to want to use it. So you also have to leave space for them. And I will tell you from personal experience, and I've told you guys this lesson before as I roll the fuck up, I have seen P go through beats and hit a beat that was dope as fuck and have to skip it and just say, and he would say, there's no room for me on it. It's so full and there's so much shit going on and it's so big that there's just no room for me to do anything. He really likes simplicity and beats. I guess that's why him and Hav work so well together, because Hav is the master of simplicity. But I've literally saw it on numerous occasions. A beat, no matter how dope it was, get skipped because it was just too fucking full and too big. Now, this is coming from somebody who puts 58 things in every beat that they make, so it's not like I follow my own advice. But I also usually don't make beats for rappers. I make them because we're up to something, y'all. Alright, so let's add in the upper half of this sample, or let's just solo it and see what it is. See, completely filtered in a whole different way. Well, this is definitely the first time I used this plugin. I think I might want to use this one more often. This looks a lot like the MV2. It is. This is MV1. I always use the MV2. And maybe I should revert backwards. I don't know. Who knows why I did that. EQ time. So you can hear it in the sample. There's a lot of static, like record static from the sample. So I just took out the highest parts of those because sometimes that static pop is really cool, especially if it ends up being melodic. So I didn't want to use a noise filter or a static remover to get rid of it completely. But I did scoop the shit out of it to try to control it, that's for sure. So this is another trick to use. So first scoop out a lot so you're kind of controlling it. They're still really poppy and they still really pop through. Well, if you compress it, it's also going to change everything else in the sample. So one way to kind of control those pops a little bit without having to EQ again is by adding reverb, because now they're going to kind of get a cocoon around them so they're not so transient minded. So this one got sent to the room and to the tape delay. Alright, so now gotta put those two together. So, as you can see, I'm not going to stack these on top of each other either. Now, you would typically think that you would put the higher pitched one to the outside and the chords to the inside. I did this one in reverse, so it could feel more like a pyramid. Because after all, this is, you know, everything's not Illuminati. So these are the types of things I think about. If I'm approaching a mix, I will think about what is the song about and how can I try to emulate that on a subconscious level that the listener has no idea. But by the way that it's felt and the way that it's heard, it can be an addition to the lyrics and help them understand it on a whole different level. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever listened to this song and ever thought that, like, damn, this mix kind of feels like a pyramid. Who knows? But that's what I was going for. And if no one ever did, then I didn't achieve what I was going for, I guess. But anyway, the reason I bring this up is typically you would want to go 100 and 100, which also makes it Phantom Center. And I have this one at 45. You would also kind of think you would want the other one to be even at 45. But if I put them both at 45, now that also creates a Phantom Center, because it's Phantom Center is a phasing thing that just works out in your benefit. So if the chords are already utilizing the Phantom Center phenomenon, I don't want the upper end to do the same thing, because essentially now they're stacked on top of each other also. So you can see one's at 45 and one's at 47. I just offset one of them a little bit so that it doesn't create that exact phasing for both layers of it. So, we are in for Benjamin. It is. Everything I do is based in math and sacred frequencies. So, with this particular track, it's actually 3 layers of the same fucking sample. You see how Beat Butcher did that? I used a gate and a filter in order to just isolate the horns only, because these two alone, the horns don't stand out enough. They're kind of buried, but he really... I've never seen anybody do this before, separated into 3 separate parts. But he did. So now, on the third part, you already know what you have to accentuate. Accentuate. Already getting there. Since there's already enough incidences of static and whatnot, I shelved this one. Because the shelf. Oh my god. It says at 13, but that's actually the center of the shelf. So it ends at, looks like 17, possibly maybe 18. The mean is 13, so that's 5. So it's going to go down to... I'm too high to do math right now. Fuck you. 8? Yeah. So the shelf begins at 8, essentially. And that's kind of all I did with the EQ on this one, because it's so tingy and utilized literally for only one thing. Now you can see on the EQ aspect is I really dialed in to try to get the horns to really push through the rest of these samples. Reverb. Now you can see with the reverb, all of it is to one side because there was a gap. And I used the right side pan to fill in the gap over here with this reverb. Alright, so start with this. Added what is essentially the mids. A little bit dull. Let's add in the upper end, and you can see the upper end is also at left and right because it's so high up in the frequency spectrum. It's not going to be stacked on top of anything. It can sit up there by itself. What a departure to go from, thank you, Beefy, what would essentially be this is what most people would just have. They would just have one layer. Beat Butcher, is the credit goes to him being able to separate it into 3 parts so I could really, really layer the shit out of this one. And you need all 3 parts. Shit's so fucking dope. Anyway. The dynamics in that sample play that he was able to create and allow me to mold is fucking dope, man. Next thing, see if these drums fit. So, Benjamin, now you understand why I would add so much reverb to the kick and to the bass. Because these samples are swimming in reverb in order to fill in the gaps and to create this 3rd and 4th dimension. And if the drums and the bass didn't have the reverb, they wouldn't fit. Bass. Yeah, I get that. Really was really happy with how balanced the sample and the instrumentation came out, and then being able to add the drums and whatnot and make it feel like it was kind of played live. That was the whole goal of this one, is to make it feel like it was all done live. That's why there's a lot of dynamic play in the samples, itself. Like, it feels like somebody's actually playing the piano harder when things get ramped up, and that was the whole goal. I guess it was really fitting. That's probably why, one of the reasons why, I never asked him, I should have, one of the reasons why P used this one on the Jimmy Fallon show is because he had a band. So this was probably the easiest one for them to play, to learn and to play, because it feels like they could have played it already. Alright. Talk to him, P.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth.
So, I listened to the radio a little bit this weekend because I was in a car. I noticed something. You could really tell all these new records, like, you could really, really tell that an artist is laying down one bar at a time. There's just absolutely no cohesiveness whatsoever to most people's verses. And that, well, A, these young kids try to jam as many fucking syllables as they possibly can into every single song, but B, there's just, it's not together. I could feel it. And then I heard a couple songs where I was sitting there kind of like going over the verse. I think I was listening to Kanye's album. And I could picture them being able to perform the entire verse, but it sounded like it was kind of punchy, but not really. And to me, that means they just cut out the breaths. So, if you take nothing away from these behind the mix sessions that we've done this year, you don't cut out the breaths. You don't leave them in either at full strength, because it's fucking annoying. You use the Joe the Engineer method, and you grab it and you compress it down. Because if you cut it out, it just feels so choppy. So, you just have to learn how to control the breath. You can't take it out. It's too much of a gap. It feels weird. The ambience is gone. So if you do audiobooks in a professional setting, you'll actually record 10 minutes of the vocal booth by itself. And that'll be the ambient setting for that day. That way, if you have to go in and punch something at a later date, that you can also mix the ambient noise of the booth, even though you can't really hear it, but it is actually there, into the vocals, so that it sounds like the original day and it doesn't sound punchy on an audiobook. So, knowing that they do that, you have to kind of approach vocals the same way.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot.
A lot of work to do.
Random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation. All these laws changing. Foreign bankers. Let's talk proposition. 37, let's practice the First Amendment. She say she love when I speak my truth. She searched for me her whole life. I tell her, go ahead, keep searching. Cause you ain't never gonna find. Never with my balance, my vibration, I resonate.
See, this one was recorded, like, he was so in the pocket when we did this one that you could tell I didn't have to do a whole lot with the EQ. So, plus, again, I wanted to approach it like it was more of a live performance, so I didn't want to alter it too much. Now, P's vocals are always super thick, so I'm not going to shelve too much of it off. The amateur way is to cut it off at like 100 or 120 because you don't know how to tame the lower end of somebody's vocals or mix it within the spectrum. Nah, you can't cut off P's vocals. Somewhere around 300 is kind of where the noise of everything is. There's always a pile up around 300 hertz. So this one is 286, close to 300. I will go into P's vocals and cut out where the noise is because it's unnecessary. That gap is already filled by the noise of everything else. It's literally like called the noise section. It's like 300 to 310. If something sounds thick and noisy in your mix, go to 300 to 310 and scoop it out and watch what happens. So this one's a little bit lower. I guess you could go maybe 280 to 320, that 40 hertz spectrum, but around 300 it's actually 310 is where you start, but I just say 300 because with P it was always a little bit lower because his voice is on the lower end of the frequency spectrum. So, and then add sacred frequency of 635 to resonate with the head chakra. A little bit of scoop is I always say it's going to be somewhere between 9 and 12, and then it's always somewhere outside of that range, but that scoop is at 13 on this one, and that scoop in the vocals allows that snare to hit cleaner without you having to push the snare anymore. Just scoop out a space for that snare to hit in the other things that are going to be up the center. So there's snare, vocals, kick, and bass all go in the center regardless. So the bass and the kick you don't have to worry about those. You have to balance between those two, but in regards to the snare, it doesn't fucking matter at all. So you're basically just battling for space in the center with the snare and the vocals. You don't want to push the snare up too far above the vocals in order to have it hit properly. So to maintain the balance between the two, you just scoop out where that snare is hitting in the vocals. That's it. Who fucking cares? And then if that kind of pushes the vocals down, just go somewhere after it, give it a little space, go after it, and then just push the vocals up a little bit. It'll make up for it. I didn't even have to do that with this one though.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong thing.
So you can see I use the harmonic exciter inside of the alloy, but once again only at 1.1 on the dial. Harmonics are all about subtleties. You're adding layers, not another full layer. It's layering behind. You're filling in the space that you've created by, especially on this one, by utilizing so much reverb. But the good thing is, since there is so much space, I guess the simplest thing would be try to get rid of that space, but the creator should utilize all the space that's there. There's so much space to use now. That's how you should look at it. So subtle. I wonder what it's going to sound like if I push it all the way.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected.
Subtleties, and of course the de-esser, because this is the best de-esser that I've used, and I continually use this entire plugin mostly just for the de-esser at this point, which is funny because it eats up so much DSP space, but whatever. Computers nowadays are definitely fast enough to handle it. It doesn't fucking matter.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot.
So now, very subtle harmonic addition on the upper end of Peace vocal, and I'm talking the very upper end. What is this set at? 0.52. So I'll push this all the way, and you'll hear where this plugin actually affects the vocals at.
Everything not Illuminati. Everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot. Caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Something.
So you can hear it's sibilance driven. It's all the way at the upper end. So within 2 plugins in the vocal chain already, we've added 2 layers of harmonics. And just like Beat Butcher did with his multiple layers to create a rounder sounding sample instead of that 2-dimensional sample, I'm mimicking that entire operation within Peace vocals, but I already do that anyway. So this one,
everything not Illuminati. Everything not an evil plot.
you can hear that's kind of like the mid-range harmonic engine. So that one exists. And we've already heard this one pushed, and this is the upper end. So now there's 2 layers of harmonics already added into this.
Everything not Illuminati. Everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot.
Reverb.
Caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation. All these laws change.
You see how it just rounds out the vocals without you having to actually round them out by adding the proper amount of reverb. So I always think like people either use way too much or too little. It's to me, reverb is another harmonic layer. It's not really reverb. It's more about filling in gaps and adding another layer instead of reverberation, even though that's essentially what it is. But this is, reverb is the 3rd dimension creator. It's the space creator. Delays are the time creator. So your 3rd and 4th dimension, you are actually Neo in the Matrix. You have full and total control of the 3rd and 4th dimension because you actually created them.
Everything not Illuminati. Everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot. Caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's
Tape delay added. 111. What up, man? Yeah, I think it's on YouTube still.
everything not Illuminati. Everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot. Caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging.
So now, the tape delay you can hear is if there's a mid harmonic layer, there's a high-end harmonic layer, there's the reverb harmonic layer, and now the tape delay is now a 4th harmonic layer on the vocals themselves, because the tape delay is immediately set after, but you can go within the tape delay and go to the wow and flutter setting and the flux settings, and kind of like it'll be like a warp in the tape. So now it is an alteration of the vocal, so now it becomes a harmonic layer. So now we're up to 4.
Everything not Illuminati. Everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot. Caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things.
Alright, so now it's time to add layer number 5. and that is literally Maserati Harmonix engine. Doesn't get any simpler than this. But let me explain. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. The exact reason to use this one is this knob and this knob, because you can really manipulate the size, and then the spread would be the pre-delay for when these harmonics actually occur. So now we're up to 5 layers.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation. All these.
All right, so now we're gonna go and just run through it one at a time, and you'll. All right, so we can start with just compressed vocals. And you'll see by adding layers to it what we end up with and how round it actually is.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation. All these laws changing. Foreign bankers. Let's talk proposition 37. Let's practice the First Amendment. She say she love when I speak my truth. She searched for me her whole life. I tell her go ahead, keep searching. Cause you ain't never gonna find. Never with my balance, my vibration, I resonate. My pull is magnetic, I'm attractive, but I give more than I hold. Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot.
See, now they're sitting. In order to get them in front of all of everything that would be taking up that spectrum, and get them sitting out in front like it is a live performance, instead of just pushing them out in front like Drake vocals. Every time I hear Drake vocals, it's Drake, a snare, and then a kick, and that's basically it. You can barely ever hear any of the beat. It's fucking insane. I don't know why they allow that shit. They probably do it on purpose. He's probably so narcissistic they can only be his vocals. That's not the approach on this one at all. So in order to get it out in front of everything, we can reverse engineer this one this time. It's all 1,000,000%. 13 and 14 is tape delay. About layering.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a.
See, you can hear the breaths if the vocals are soloed. So that ambient gap is filled by what was already there. I've just compressed it and completely controlled it so that you don't hear it in the beat. But that ambient gap, because I'm basically using that breath to fill in another space within the entire total spectrum. I guess is how I could explain that.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation. All these laws changing. Foreign bankers. Let's talk proposition 37. Let's practice the First Amendment. She say she love when I speak my truth. She searched for me her whole life. I tell her go ahead, keep searching. Cause you ain't never gonna find. Never with my balance, my vibration, I resonate. My pull is magnetic, I'm attractive, but I give more than I hold.
So, that took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, if I'm thinking correctly. Yeah, 12 different points in order to 12 different points of attenuation or spaces that you are allowed to control within that vocal chain in order to go from where we started to what the vision was. And now it's very rare that I have a vision for a mix where I'm just like, all right, this is where my goal is on this one. I usually just go and just make it sound dope. This one was different. I had an approach going into it of what it is I wanted to achieve. So this one actually took a lot longer than the other ones because I had a specific goal in mind, and it wasn't just make it sound dope, it was make it sound specifically a way that I wanted it to. And in order to do that, it took a lot of knob turning. Now typically at this point in my career, there's not a lot of knob turning because I know exactly what I want to do, and I just go do it. That's just years of experience, and that's what experience teaches you, is how to just get to the point and avoid mistakes. This one was a lot of searching, like a lot. So it's funny because by saying that there's 12 points, it might sound like that's an actual lot, but I can guarantee you that there's some tracks on this album where there are 20 to 30 different points where you can control a variation.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not.
So now let's add in the fourth dimension because I didn't do it yet. So there's more than one delay on this one.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation. All these laws changing. Foreign bankers. Let's talk proposition. 37. Let's practice the First Amendment. She say she love when I speak my truth. She searched for me her whole life. I tell her, go ahead, keep searching. Cause you ain't never gonna find. Never with my balance, my vibration. I resonate. My pull is magnetic. I'm attractive, but I give more than I hold. Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder.
So you can see I will automate the delays and have them trailing off. Once to get going with the pyramid idea with this one, I wanted some of the things when they were said to feel like they were falling off of the pyramid.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation. All these laws changing. Foreign bankers. Let's talk proposition. 37. Let's practice the First Amendment. She say she love when I speak my truth. She searched for me her whole life. I tell her, go ahead, keep searching. Cause you ain't never gonna find. Never with my balance, my vibration. I resonate. My pull is magnetic.
So you can hear it quick. I don't have to explain it because it's the same layering, compression, EQ, de-esser. I guess I can't explain this. So within your doubles, when you want to get them layered properly, it's about, if you have something scooped out in the lead, kind of do the exact opposite in the double. And if you have something boosted in a lead, go out and scoop out the bottom. Or just scoop out that same thing in the double so that you can kind of create like this puzzle piece effect to where they fit really tightly with each other.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of
You can see how much it sticks out, so let's start hammering it in, I guess.
everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's
get in there.
Legislation, all these laws changing. Foreign bankers, let's talk proposition. 37, let's practice the First Amendment. She say she love when I speak my truth. She searched for me her whole life. I tell her, go ahead, keep searching. Cause you ain't never gonna find, never with my balance, my vibration, I resonate. My pull is magnetic, I'm attractive, but I give more than I haul.
Yes, Beefy, that's exactly what you are hearing. That's why I do this, so that I can explain kind of what I did. Because a lot of people, when they heard that album, they ask me, how the hell did you do this? Like, a lot. So, I was going to do a lot of videos on YouTube, like one for each song. But then I decided just to do it for you guys, because I do it live, and I never told anybody that I'm doing this. I just started doing it. And now we're almost done with the album. So, shout out to everybody at Beat Boutique, because I have given you the keys to the castle.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation, all these laws changing. Foreign bankers, let's talk proposition. 37, let's practice the First Amendment. She say she love when I speak my truth. She searched for me her whole life. I tell her, go ahead, keep searching. Cause you ain't never.
So, it would be, especially album mode, it was rare that P would do ad-libs on an album, especially this album. But there were a couple on this song, and there were also a third layer added. And I mean, you know, if you do enough sessions with somebody, you kind of get their process down. So it's always like, all right, once we're done with the first layer, I would instantly know if he wanted to move on and do the double. So it would be unspoken communication. I would just hit record, and he would know that I already know. There's no need for me to say, all right, we're going to record the doubles now. Let's go. He knew that if the beat started on the same 2 or 4 bars before his vocals, it's important when you're recording someone to always, wherever it is you pick to start the recording from, always start from that exact same spot, because it creates this groove and timing for the artist to come in. And if you keep bouncing around to different spots, it just becomes disjointed, and you're going to get a disjointed performance out of it. So, anyway, every once in a while, he'd be like, yo, let me get another one. And that'd be like the only time he'd ever say anything when we were recording vocals. And I never would really have to say anything, because we had done so many sessions that he knew by whatever it is that I did in Pro Tools what my opinion on something was. Now, every once in a while, and I thought this was like the coolest shit ever the first time it happened, I would think, I'd be like, all right, this is cool. This was a good one. And then he'd stop, and he'd actually ask me, like, yo, Joe, what do you think about that one? And I was just like, fuck yeah, I have like actual input. This is amazing. But psychologically, I already knew that if he's questioning it, we're just going to do it again. And it's your job as an engineer to quarterback the situation, all right? If he's questioning it, then you already know the answer is no. There should be no question. So if the artist is questioning if it's good enough, then it's not. That you should know it should be a home run, especially if you're working on something of this magnitude, like an album for like a major artist. Like, there should never any questions. So it doesn't matter if I thought, like, yeah, this was a good one. If the artist, in this case P, thought enough to actually verbally ask me if it was good, what did I think about that one, then I already know he's questioning it. So no, I'm not going to waste time and be like, well, no, I actually like that one, and like try to convince him that it was good enough. It's only going to take another 45 seconds. Look, this verse is 50 seconds long. It's another 50 seconds. What the fuck are we really talking about? Get it right. It doesn't matter how many times it takes or how long it takes. So, but yeah, in this one, this individual instance, it was one of those, yo, let me get another one. And then I'm thinking we're done, and I hear, let me get one more on top of that. And I'm like, where are we going with this? Now, I can tell you that all the ad-libs that P put in, he knew to just kind of go overboard, because I would pick and choose what fit musically. And then if like I took one out that he didn't like, or if he thought it should have been in there, he would be like, yo, where's that one at? And then every once in a while he'd be like, yo, get rid of that one. But, usually it's just about music. So if you make the correct music decision in regards to the music, and that's the only thing that matters, there's no egos involved, then you'll be surprised how much you agree with the artist, because you're both working for the same goal, and that's to make the music the best it could possibly be. There's no individual goals in it. So it was really easy to get rid of things or say, no, this shouldn't be here, because you would just know it doesn't musically fit in. So it was just like, no, get rid of it. And he would never question it. It was awesome. It was such a rewarding experience. It was something I really can't put into words. To have full and total trust with somebody, and to both 100% be on the exact same page, and then to have them trust you completely. Because I've said it a million times. Once I mixed the first record, Pete just let me do whatever the hell I wanted. He was just like, yeah, just do you. I'm going on the road. Fucking send me mixes. And I said, no. When you get back, I'll have an album done. And that's how it worked out. So, with the ad-libs and the layering, I'll play the acapella. You'll hear the movement.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Nah, everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation. All these laws changing. Foreign bankers. Let's talk Proposition 37. Let's practice the First Amendment. She say she love when I speak my truth.
Oh yeah?
She searched for me her whole life.
That right.
I tell her, go ahead, keep searching. Cause you ain't never gonna find. Never with my balance, my vibration. I resonate. My pull is magnetic. I'm attractive, but I give more than I haul. Get some.
So you can hear so much movement, so many layers now. So that's what my job is when mixing vocals, is to create that out of just the piece I was given. And that's why I spend, well, I don't have to spend as much time on it now. But that's why I used to spend literally an entire 20 straight hours just tweaking a plug-in, one knob, 0.1 at a time, back and forth, and listen to the entire verse, the entire song, with just that one alteration to see where it fit now. And like I said when we started, this isn't work. None of this was work. 20 straight hours listening to the same vocals, tweaking one thing, that's not work. It wasn't manual labor. That didn't hurt. Shit was fucking awesome. And can you imagine, I was high the entire time. Alright, so now that we have that, let's jump to the second verse, and then we'll start adding some instruments in. And you can see, once again, P gave me the levity to do whatever I wanted. And of course, he had ultimate veto power. It was his album. Anything that he didn't like, and I wouldn't fight it, it's his album. I'm not stupid. My job is to be the best helping hand that I can be, not try to be the man. Sometimes you have to understand what your role is. Not everybody, you can't throw the ball and catch it. It's not how the game works. So anyway, you can see with the gray sections, I didn't do too many of them, but P allowed me to do my own drops and not just have it exactly as the producer had it. He really was just like, not just go make music. And how I would know if yeah, of course I do. How I would know if it was musically correct is if I did all these drops and I played it for him and he wouldn't even notice it. It just sounded like it was supposed to be like that, or it was already like that. And that's the only way I would ever know if I nailed it. If I did something and he'd be like, alright, that was kind of interesting, I'd be like, I didn't do it right there. If I did all these drops and he never said a word, then I know I did it right, because then it didn't sound like I actually did anything. So, let's start adding some instruments.
Sistren and brethren around the globe, the sleeping giants have awoken. Life to us is like Play-Doh. We just shape the shit how we want it. Come graduate from that old school. This is higher learning. We passed that. Take a leap of faith and just let go. We ain't waiting for you in the aftermath. Behind the wizard's curtain. This ain't Kansas for certain. We live and live in color. Backstage of the Truman Show. Everything not 3 dimensions. There's so much more to be seen. Open up your third eye, or you gon' miss everything. Then in the middle of all this, I got people with larceny in their heart for me. I must hold down the fortress, stay alive and stay out the penitentiary. Better wisely choose your battles. Try not to think so small. It's a big psychedelic picture that'll turn your hatred to love, maybe not though. Sistren and brethren around the globe, the sleeping giants have awoken.
So, you can hear the snare now. You can hear that second layer underneath of the snare that's off to one side. That's because that particular snare was mic'd on the top and the bottom. So the top is only going to catch the percussive hit, and the bottom is going to catch the bells and whatnot that are under, the little shakers that are underneath on the snare that you can turn the key and open up. So it's going to catch those. There's like those little wires or whatever those shits are on some of them that go across the middle. So you can mic those up. So since that's kind of off to the side in this particular sample and mix, you can kind of set the snare back a little bit and have P's vocals out front a little bit more, which will also give it a more authentic live performance feel. Because in a live performance, those vocals are going to be out in front of everything. They have to be. So on this one, I don't have to necessarily push the snare so hard, because the bottom, those wires are also mic'd, and it happens to be off to one side. So you can catch the feeling in the snare without having to push it so much.
Sistren and brethren around the globe, the sleeping giants have awoken. Life to us is like Play-Doh. We just shape the shit how we want it. Come graduate from that old school. This is higher learning. We passed that. Take a leap of faith and just let go. We ain't waiting for you in the aftermath. Behind the wizard's curtain. This ain't Kansas for certain. We live and live in color. Backstage of the Truman Show. Everything not 3 dimensions. There's so much more to be seen. Open up your third eye, or you gon' miss everything. Then in the middle of all this, I got people with larceny in their heart for me. I must hold down the fortress, stay alive and stay out the penitentiary. Better wisely choose your battles. Try not to think so small. It's a big psychedelic.
So I spent a lot of time doing this since I was trying to approach it as a live performance. To where I would just have just the drums and P's vocals and make sure it sounded good like that, or just the bass and P's vocals. A lot of individual mixes and balancing, and then trying to bring them all together. Now we all know that typically I would approach it this way.
Sistren and brethren around the globe, the sleeping giants have awoken. Life to us is like Play-Doh, we just shape the shit how we want it. Come graduate from that old school, this is higher learning, we past that. Take a leap of faith and just let go. We waiting for you in the aftermath. Behind the wizard's curtain, this ain't Kansas for certain. We live and live in color, backstage of the Truman Show. Everything not 3 dimensions, there's so much more to be seen. Open up your third eye, or you gon' miss everything. Then in the middle of all this, I got people with larceny in their heart for me. I must hold down the fortress, stay alive and stay out the penitentiary. Better wisely choose your battles. Try not to think so small. It's a big psychedelic picture that'll turn your hatred to love, maybe not though. Sistren and brethren around the globe, the sleeping giants have awoken. Life to us is like Play-Doh, we just shape the shit how we want it. Come graduate from that old school, this is higher learning, we past that. Take a leap of faith and just let go. We waiting for you in the aftermath. Behind the wizard's curtain, this ain't Kansas for certain. We live and live in color, backstage of the Truman Show. Everything not 3 dimensions, it's so. Sistren and brethren around the globe, the sleeping giants have awoken. Life to us is like Play-Doh, we just shape the shit how we want it. Come graduate from that old school, this is higher learning, we past that. Take a leap of faith and just let go. We waiting for you in the aftermath. Behind the wizard's curtain, this ain't Kansas for certain. We live and live in color, backstage of the Truman Show. Everything not 3 dimensions, there's so much more to be seen. Open up your third eye, or you gon' miss everything. Then in the middle of all this, I got people with larceny in their heart for me. I must hold down the fortress, stay alive and stay out the penitentiary. Better wisely choose your battles. Try not to think so small. It's a big psychedelic picture that'll turn your hatred to love, maybe not though. Sistren and brethren around the globe, the sleeping giants have awoken. Life to us is like Play-Doh, we just shape the shit how we want it. Come graduate from that old school, this is higher learning, we past that. Take a leap of faith and just let go. We waiting for you in the aftermath. Behind the
Yo. The hooks, same exact process, except you're more balancing to make it. You have to make the hook sound different in some manner. It doesn't upset me, but it annoys the shit out of me when I listen to a rap song and it just sounds like one big long vocal take. Like there's no difference. It's just one layer of vocals for the hook. The verse is everything, and that's it. And it's like, how the fuck am I supposed to know the difference? Nick Ashley did that for a long time. I had to get on him a lot about doing that shit. Like, you gotta understand that the listeners are retarded. Not all of them. Some of them might have never heard music like this. It doesn't matter what it is, but you need to make it so that it's as easy as possible. So I listened to Donda. I didn't actually listen to all of it. I made my way through most of it. I don't know if I was listening to a live performance or if that's how the album actually is. But if that's how the album actually is, I don't really like that album. It'd be like he'll repeat the same bar for like 2.5 minutes. And he did that on like 7 different songs before I stopped listening to it. It was really fucking weird. I don't know if that was the album, if like the live performances are all like that, or if that's how the album actually is. I know it's 27 songs. This shit is long as fuck. I didn't like any of the features that I heard. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to listen to it again. Like, really, really sit down and listen to it, but... as for right now, not so much. So, after the hooks being done... So, this was one of those rare occasions where this part right here... that was not in the original beat. So after P had done his vocals and structured the song how we wanted it, we said it, and this was, Beat Butcher does this all the time. We'd send it back to Beat Butcher and he would kind of restructure some of it a little bit more to be catered to exactly where P's vocals were hitting. And sometimes he would add some things, and he added this at the end. Now, in the mastering session, we cut this down. It wasn't as long. But, yeah, he literally just added this as an outro. So, see if I remember correctly. Yeah, I knew this was a bit longer. So, that's, you can hear that in the normal outro of the song. But you don't really hear all of this because it was kind of really buried in there. What I had to do was make sure that the transients, like the push on this synth, matched up with the chords that are already in the other samples. So I did have to move it to make it work.
All one human race, one love.
Yeah, hold on. I knew something was going on up there. I knew that stare sounded extra loud for some goddamn reason.
Right here in the United States, motherfucking USA, the US of A. Look, we are all beautiful, all powerful, all one human race, one love.
That's how it's supposed to be. What the fuck? I am too high, y'all. So, the last part about this track, and you can see it. When you're doing an album that kind of flows one track to the next, in order to get them to match, and this is just not the singles, just the album. So after I mixed Microcosm, I went and put all the 2 tracks in a session by themselves and kind of put them where it would be timing wise so it would flow. And then there's some overlapping that occurs. So where that overlapping is, I would go to Microcosm and then bounce that much of it and then bring that into this session so that you can get the blend to properly happen, so that on the album, whenever the track switches to the next one, that blend has already begun, if that makes any sense. Like, so essentially I had to use 5 seconds from Microcosm so I used the entire rise from that beginning of Microcosm as the blending, because I wanted it here to start right after it, because the chords in Microcosm kind of sound like an extension of this anyway. Which is why I chose to put that song Microcosm after this one, is because Beat Butcher added this. And it kind of sounded like a transition right into Microcosm anyway. He actually provided the decision for me on track listing as far as those 2 go. So anyway, that blood is done. That's how we go from recording a Pro Tools session and some vocals onto a beat that Beat Butcher sent. Essentially, it starts with Beat Butcher's beat. So that's how we go from this to this.
Everything not Illuminati, everything not an evil plot. Nah, everything not the black boule. Sometimes people just get shot, caught up in a random act of violence. Murder over dumb shit. Everything is not connected. Some things are, but you bugging. You taking it too far. Stop staring up at space. Pay attention to life on Earth. You worried about the wrong things. Let's talk legislation. All these laws changing. Foreign bankers. Let's talk proposition 37. Let's practice the First Amendment. She say she love when I speak my truth. Oh yeah. She searched for me her whole life. I tell her go ahead, keep searching. Cause you ain't never gonna find. Never with my balance, my vibration. I resonate. My pull is magnetic. I'm attractive, but I give more than I haul. Get some 350s, 9 millis, Stendo 47s. They want us to all disarm. But we ain't giving up our weapons. No, it's the USA, motherfucking USA, the US of A. We're black is beautiful, black is powerful, and we all here to stay. Right here in the United States, motherfucking USA, the US of A. Look, we are all beautiful, all powerful, all one human race. Big up to sistren and brethren around the globe. The sleeping giants have awoken. Like to us it's like Play-Doh. We just shape the shit how we want it. Come graduate from that old school. This is higher learning. We past that. Take a leap of faith and just let go. We waiting for you in the aftermath. Behind the wizard's curtain. This ain't Kansas for certain. We live and live in color. Backstage of the Truman Show. Everything not 3 dimensions. There's so much more to be seen. Open up your third eye, or you gon' miss everything. Then in the middle of all this, I got people with larceny in their heart for me. I must hold down the fortress, stay alive and stay out the penitentiary. Better wisely choose your battles. Try not to think so small. It's a big psychedelic picture. Let it turn your hatred to love, maybe not though. 350s, 9 millis, Stendo 47s. They want us to all disarm. We ain't giving up our weapons. Fuck no, it's the USA, motherfucking USA, the US of A. We're black is beautiful, black is powerful, and we all here to stay. Right here in the United States, motherfucking USA, the US of A. Look, we are all beautiful, all powerful, all one human race. One love, one love.
So, yeah, you guys, I hope you guys listen to these in headphones, with headphones on, so you can actually, like, really feel what I'm talking about. But, regardless of that, it's dope because you guys get to hear these songs from this album from Pro Tools. So even when you bounce it, when you go listen to that bounce, it's going to sound different, just a little bit. It's now been processed and, you know, turned into a wave or an MP3 or whatever, and it's kind of been brought down a little bit. So you get to actually see what up. You get to actually hear what the mix actually sounds like when we do this, like for real. Hear it from the desk itself. So that's fucking dope, and so are you guys. So yeah, man, the beat battle is on for this month. Hit me up and I will tell you how to get involved with this month's beat battle. And remember, I'm always up to something, and Twin is going to be fucking with the beats that win these beat battles, and he won't be the only one. So also, it's hoodie season, y'all, and you know what that means. I've been up to something. As you can see, I had to preview one of the new items for this year. Short sleeve hoodies soon on deck. You will see what I've been working on as far as the merch line goes for you guys. But it is hoodie season, and you know what that means. It's time to put on some fucking hoodies. What else could it mean? So, yo, thank you guys for coming through. Hit me up if you want to get into the beat battle. What else? It's Friday, so I'll see you Saturday night for RIP TV. I don't know what the fuck else I got going on. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, keep fighting the good fight. Chronic. Finish that beat and we'll take the next step forward on that one. We'll see if we can get that sent to the right people. Other than that, Billy Lines, my motherfucking homie, we're up to something. That's fucking sure. Other than that, RIPP 333, and yo, I'll see you Saturday. Hold up, wrong one.
He's one of the dopest engineers in the game. The head engineer exclusively for Prodigy of Mobb Deep. 10 Prodigy of Mobb Deep albums. The Hegelian Dialectic. The Book of Revelation.
It's a pleasure, man. That body of work is crazy. I mean,
Joe the engineer. Now we do this shit, nigga. 333. That's a sign from the heavens. Just look up in the heavens. Joe in that next room sparking. That next room sparking. That's a sign from the heavens. Joe in that next room sparking. That next room sparking. In the heavens. 333. That's a sign from the heavens. Just look up in the heavens. Where the fucking wind at?
Dopest engineers in the game.